is me. Look out, here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apology. This is me.
Hello, happy September and happy almost fall. We're not quite there to fall, but it sure is getting a little crisper in the mornings. And I sure do love that we can wear some cooler clothing these days because boy, was it getting pretty warm. Um, we have lots going on this month. We have Suicide Awareness Month, National Recovery Month, Women's National Health and Fitness Month, and so much more. So I wanted to share a little bit more about what we have going on here at NAMI. So let me bring up our screen here. We have our classes that started this week and last week, our family-to-family courses for individuals that have adult family members with mental health conditions. Our NAMI Basics course is for parents or caregivers that are raising kiddos with mental health conditions. And then peer-to-peer is for individuals that are adults that are living with a mental health condition. And so we have something for everybody that is affected by mental health conditions. So we are still accepting people into our programs for the next few weeks. And so if you know somebody that could benefit or you could benefit, reach out to us, sign up on our website, send us a Facebook message, however you want to contact us. We'll put your name on the list and then we'll look forward to seeing you there. Our big fall event is coming up. Our afterburn is Friday, October 6th. And so that will be over at the Wood County Fairgrounds in the Junior Fair building. And so we would love to have you there. We're doing trick or treat, or trunk or treat, I should say. Chili cook-off. We're going to have all sorts of games. I'm sorry we're struggling with internet right now. So if I kind of do something funny, well, we'll just kind of have to struggle to, through it together. But we're going to have all sorts of therapeutic activities and stuff going on. So come learn a little bit more about our mental health care providers we have in the community and learn different therapeutic activities you can do as a family. We also need volunteers for that. So if you're interested in volunteering for that event, we have a sign up right on our website. Speaking of things to sign up on our website, if you have an awesome chili recipe, we would love to have you enter in our chili cook-off. So donate chili and you get a prize, also bragging rights. And we have all sorts of fun things and activities with our chili cook-off. We have some celebrity judges that are going to come and all sorts of fun things for that. We are looking for volunteers, like I said, not just for the day of the event, but then preparing for the event. We have one of our Chip-in Days coming up, and that is going to be on Wednesday, 2 days before the event on the 4th of October. So if you are interested in coming and volunteering in the office, you can sign up on our website or call us, let us know that you're going to be there, and we will feed you while we kind of stuff bags and do all the things we need to do to prepare for the event. Last but not least, about our Afterburn event, we still have sponsorships available. So you can sponsor different items at the event. You can have a sponsorship that goes towards the meals or towards a t-shirt. You can donate at a different sponsorship level and you get your logo or your name listed in all these various places. You can also donate to one of our Amazon wish lists. And so that is a public list that we have published, and the Amazon wish list you can purchase items and then it sends it directly to us. So if you are interested in any of that, give us a call. Courtney is your gal to talk to. If you're interested in donating chili, give us a call, and Amanda's the gal you want to talk to. So we have all sorts of fun stuff coming up. If you've ever taken a first aid or a CPR course, you've learned some basics in how to interact with a person that's in a medical crisis. So mental health first aid was designed and developed to teach people how to work a little bit better with a person in a mental health crisis. And so we have a mental health first aid coming up on October 12th that is focused on working with older adults. So if you're a person that has a lot of older adults in your life, or you work with older adults, you want to learn a little bit more about recognizing warning signs and symptoms and how to talk to that person if they're maybe in a crisis, come to that one on Thursday, October 12th. If you would like to just go through the course and learn more about the general curriculum, what mental health first aid is and how to recognize those warning signs and symptoms and how to get people connected to treatment service providers, come Friday, October 13th. Despite the date that we chose, we're still going to have a lot of fun and learn a lot of really cool things. As a follow-up to our mental health first aid trainings, we do what we call QPR trainings, and we're going to talk a little bit more throughout this broadcast about what QPR is. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that now, but we do have one coming up following those mental health first aid trainings on Wednesday, November 8th. And so that one is working with somebody that is just in a suicidal crisis. And so, like I said, we're going to give like an abbreviated version of what QPR is and the things you learn during that training. Last but not least, we are doing a t-shirt fundraiser as we have for a couple of years now. So we decided to take our two top sellers, the one that says being normal is vastly overrated on the front, and then the other one has be positive with a cutesy little bee on it. And we printed them in the 4 different colors you see here, the mint green, the light blue, the mauve color, and the bright yellow. And so we have those available for $20. And then the white shirt is our spring fundraiser sale that we did the decorating contest for. And so you can purchase any of those, call us, purchase them on our website, however you'd like to get a hold of that. So again, we're looking forward to hearing from you for Afterburn, or if you're interested in any of those shirts or anything like that. So enough from me. I'm done talking about all of our upcoming things. Amanda's going to share a little bit more now about National Recovery Month. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Jessica. How's it going?
It's going all right. Did I freeze it all when I was talking?
Yeah. No, you didn't. You were good.
Good.
So September is Recovery Month. So this started in 1989. It celebrates the gains made by those in recovery from substance use disorders and mental health conditions. So just as we celebrate health improvements made by those who are managing other health conditions, such as hypertension, diabetes, asthma, and heart disease. This observance reinforces the positive message that behavioral health is essential to overall health. Prevention works, treatment is effective, and people can and do recover. So there are millions of Americans whose lives have been transformed through recovery. Since these successes often go unnoticed by the broader population, Recovery Month provides a vehicle for everyone to celebrate these accomplishments, as well as to recognize the dedication of service providers and communities who make recovery in all of its forms possible. So lastly, I just wanted to share a quote, which I read a lot during my recovery from anorexia. It says, "Run when you can, walk if you have to, crawl if you must, just never give up." Thank you, Jessica. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Amanda. I really appreciate it, and I really like that quote.
Thank you.
So as I stated earlier, this month is Suicide Awareness Month. So if you may have noticed, Amanda's wearing a purple and teal ribbon. I'm wearing a little purple and teal pin. Everybody else on the broadcast is wearing some sort of purple and teal ribbon. I'm wearing a purple and teal bracelet. So purple and teal are the colors for suicide awareness. And that's what we're going to focus a little bit more in the big chunk of our broadcast today. So I want to take a moment to let you all know, take care of yourself and take care of your needs. This topic is pretty heavy, and it is sensitive to some people. And so while we talk about suicide, if this is not something that is going to resonate with you right now, or it's maybe triggering some unpleasant feelings for you, and you need to take care of yourself, feel free to turn off the broadcast and take care of your own needs. So now is the time to do that. So those of you that want to learn a little bit more about how to help others, I wanted to talk a little bit about some suicide myths and facts. The first one that I wanted to talk about is the one that we probably hear the most. Asking a person about suicide gives them the idea that they're going to then think about suicide. That's kind of what a lot of people have in the past thought, and that's honestly a big myth. So asking a person about suicide does not give them the idea to attempt suicide or think about suicide more. It's really quite the opposite. So if I'm struggling with some really big, heavy feelings and emotions, and maybe thinking about suicide, and you are concerned about me and you ask me compassionately, are you thinking about suicide? I'm going to have quite a bit more relief that I don't have to start that conversation in a way that I'm not quite sure how to do that. And so asking a person about suicide really can help alleviate the anxiety of the conversation and help start a conversation that maybe needs to happen. And so it helps give that person the idea that you have the confidence to handle the answer, regardless if that person says that they are or they are not thinking about suicide. They know that you have the ability to handle that conversation because you approached it first. The next myth that I wanted to talk about is those who talk about suicide don't do it. And this is not true. This is absolutely not true. So, if you're talking to a person and they kind of mention suicide here or there a little bit, and you think, oh, they're not thinking about suicide or they're not going to do it because they're talking about it, that's sometimes people's way of giving an indication that they're struggling. And so a lot of times adolescents will do this. They'll just kind of slip in the idea of suicide into conversation or general conversation. And this doesn't necessarily mean that they won't attempt suicide. This is just this is one of our warning signs that we're going to talk about in a moment. And so I just want to let everybody know that those who talk about suicide don't do it is a big, big myth. So keep that in mind. If you want to learn more about myths and facts, we have a whole list of lists and facts that are in our QPR training. Come to the one in November and you'll learn more about that. Next up, Bree's going to share a little bit more about our warning signs of suicide. Hey, Bree.
Hi, Jessica.
Hey, would you mention when you're talking about warning signs that ticker tape and what that means scrolling down at the bottom?
I would
Hey,
love to.
thank you.
So, like Jessica mentioned, I am going to touch base a little bit regarding suicide clues and warning signs, which is kind of a snippet of our QPR training. But like she did say, I do want to draw some attention to our clicker or our banner down here at the bottom. You will see that there are a couple of numbers listed. It might be a little bit overwhelming, but there are a couple numbers. The first is the Wood County Crisis Line, which is the 502 HOPE number. And then the second is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is 988. You can still use the long number, but 988 is kind of what we're transitioning to. And then the last one is the crisis text line. So if you're a little bit more comfortable texting versus making a phone call, that number is down here as well, texting for HOPE to 741-741. Keep those in mind as we continue on through the broadcast and just kind of keep them in your repertoire for if you ever need them. So moving through to warning signs, it's important to take all signs seriously, regardless of whether or not you think it maybe is a big deal or it's something that someone says a lot, and so it's kind of hard to pick up things. Take everything seriously and really sit with them and make sure that they're okay. There are many behaviors and clues that can be risk factors. It's kind of hard to list them all. And we're, like I said, giving you a little snippet in our broadcast today. So this list is long, it's growing, and just remember that suicide occurs in context, and knowing the context can help better understand the why behind someone beginning to think about suicide as a solution. Some direct verbal clues. If someone says, I wish I were dead, or if this thing doesn't happen, I'm going to kill myself. Those are some more direct statements. They're kind of blatantly letting you know what they're thinking. Like Jessica mentioned, that if such and such doesn't happen, I'll kill myself is incredibly common with our younger folks, whether it's middle and high school or even into early college. Those are some common phrases that sometimes get thrown around, but can also be indicative of some things that are a little bit more serious going on. Some indirect verbal clues would be, my family would be better off without me. Pretty soon you're not going to have to worry about me. For family members, it can be really difficult to think of your family member thinking that you'd be better off without them, right? But something that's important to know is that sometimes individuals with suicidal ideation have what we call blinders. Jessica actually gives this example a lot in our presentations. It can be really hard to see outside of that suicidal thinking. And so while that person might be experiencing a lot of love and you are showering them with your affection, it might not always be the thing that breaks through. And that's just kind of a component of what they're dealing with. Some behavioral clues. Any previous suicide attempts puts individuals at greater risk. If they're giving away prized possessions, things that you know they care about deeply or are really important to them, or some unexplained anger and irritability. And then lastly, some of our situational clues would be any loss of a major relationship. That could include death of a spouse, child, or best friend. It might just be a relationship that isn't together anymore, or maybe a friendship that's been lost. But those death of a spouse, child, or best friend, especially if by suicide, can be a really big risk factor. And then anticipated loss of financial security, that can be a pretty big stressor for folks. And then being afraid of becoming a burden to others. Like I said, context is really important when we're talking about suicide and warning signs, but just remember the numbers that we've got down here for you that we talked about at the beginning of when I was speaking, and just take into consideration some of the other resources that we talk about and things like that. And we're always here for you if you need to chat. Back to you, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Bree. I appreciate you sharing a little bit more about what those warning signs are.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
I think I cut her off. I think she was saying no problem. Next, Courtney's going to share a little bit more about what QPR is. We keep saying the phrase QPR, but what does that stand for? Hey, Courtney.
Hey. Yeah, so at NAMI Wood County, we offer QPR, or Question, Persuade, Refer. This training is open to anyone in the community, and it teaches individuals how to ask that question. Are you thinking about suicide? And then it persuades the individual to stay alive. And then lastly, the training goes over referring them to the appropriate services. So when asking the question, remember, how you ask the question is less important than you ask it. And if you cannot ask it, find someone who can. Some ways to avoid asking this question include, you're not thinking of killing yourself, are you? You wouldn't do anything stupid, would you? Suicide is a dumb idea. Surely you're not thinking about suicide. These ways of asking can come across as judgmental, and when someone is in crisis, we want to validate them because the thoughts and feelings that they're experiencing are very real to them, and we want to help them. Persuading someone to stay alive means listening to them, giving them your full attention. Remember, suicide is not the problem, it's the solution to a perceived insolvable problem. You want to give them hope in any form. So, for example, if they have a beloved pet, you can use that animal as a way to give them something to live for. And then lastly, giving them referral options for the appropriate treatment, since you still want them to talk to a professional about what's happening and get the appropriate treatment. The best referral is taking them directly to someone who can help. So taking them directly to a therapist or a psychiatrist or crisis counselors. The next best referral option is getting a commitment from them that they're going to accept help and then making the arrangements to get help. So either that's helping them make the arrangements or following up with them and making sure they did. The third best referral option is to give them the information and then go to get a good faith commitment that they will go see a professional. Talking about suicide can be uncomfortable and it can be awkward, but by beginning that conversation and using the word suicide, you can help save lives. So, like we said, we are offering a QPR training in November. You'll see that it's in the comments, the registration link. So if you'd like to get the full class on this, you can go to our website and register for our next training on Wednesday, November 8th at 4:30 p.m. Back to you, Jessica.
Thanks so much, Courtney. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So last but not least, it's important to talk about lethal means. Last year, so 2022, in Wood County, Ohio, we had 17 confirmed suicide deaths. Those stats come from our health department from death certificates. So out of those 17 confirmed suicide deaths, 14 people died by firearms. We know that firearms are the cause of death for a majority of people that die by suicide in our country. So we discussed this in our QPR course and why this is an important conversation to have with people that might be struggling with some suicidal thinking. So we talk about how to keep the person safe from the firearms that they may have access to and what that looks like, maybe safe storage options and things of that nature. Just so people don't have as easy access to one of our most legal means of suicide in our country. So that is what QPR training is in a nutshell, a really very abbreviated version. Like Courtney said, come in November, learn a little bit more about that if that is a topic that you want to learn a little bit more about. So we are going to turn the tides. We're going to talk about something a little bit more upbeat. Sherry is sitting in our self care corner, and she has been tasked with talking about self care in a very upbeat manner after we talked about such a heavy topic.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for that introduction because I didn't want to sound disrespectful, but okay, ladies, this one is for you. Self care tips just for us. It is not a waste of time for self care. We are expected to be superwoman with juggling between work, family, house cleaning, etc. When would I have time for myself? We make time for ourselves and make it our priority. This does reduce stress and gives us more patience when needed. With self care, you will get more accomplished and feel happy about yourself. Here are a few things to get you started. Take mini breaks. Yes, work out 30 minutes a day and eat healthier. Learn a new skill or practice positive thinking. Journal or speak to a therapist. And make your bed every morning while listening to music. So here's some homework for you for the month. Make a list of self-care activities that resonate with you and keep that list handy. Do at least one of these activities when taking your mini break. We'll check in next month. Thank you. Back to you, Jessica.
Thank you. I really appreciate you sharing all this. So thanks for joining us today. I'm going to bring everybody on the screen. So thanks for joining us today, everybody. We hope you enjoy your fall. And hey, don't forget to get out there and do a fall related activity that makes your heart happy.